More, just a little more, just a little more. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Just a Little More. We are so excited for tonight's conversation. Here at Just a Little More, we are dedicated to getting just a little more information, just a little bit tea, because you know I love tea, and we're always about love, just a little bit more love. Tonight's show is about gay dads. And I have some amazing guests who will talk about this. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. But first, I need to do a cocktail check. And mine is real pretty tonight, as you see. As you see, it's real pretty. Cocktail check. Everybody got their cocktail. Grab your friend, grab your boo, and let's get this conversation started. All right, I'm excited. So I gotta tell the story. I was telling them before we started the table. So this is my friend, I'm gonna tell them right there, from elementary school. From elementary school. I have known Ladarius since elementary school. We had a mutual friend, I ain't gonna say the name because I don't want to get sued, but we had a mutual friend who, you know, we were mutual friends and we were always like kind of like fighting over, and then we just end up being best friends ever since then. I was in his wedding. Ladarius came all the way, him and his partner came all the way to DC to see my show. They are just amazing people, so I'm so excited to hear them. And then, of course, you know, I'm excited that y'all get to be my boo. And so I'm gonna let him start, and then we'll go to Ladarius and Will.
Okay. Well, my name is Christopher, so I'm happy to be here. Of course, this show is about gay dads. What all do you want to know about just
This is who you are, man.
Oh, wow. Let's see. I'm a lot of things.
10 seconds, though.
Okay. Sum it up. But no, I'm a dad. I work, educated, just trying to live my best life. Real simple, just, you know, loving God, living life, just giving it as it comes, and just really embracing it each day. So that's just me. I'm a lot, but that's the 10-second version.
Okay, now. All right, Ladarius and Will, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you live at, and what you're doing right now.
Right. So I'm Ladarius. Jesus. This is my wonderful husband, William. So we live in Houston, Texas. We've lived here 3 years now. So we've been here a minute, so we're adjusting. A little about ourselves. I work.
Good job.
I think I do. I'm on leave right now because, you know, with the kids and stuff. So not working right now, but, you know, and we're both in finance. So that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's who we are. Anything you need to say?
We've been married for how long? I know, do you know?
We've been married. This year will be 5 years.
In August.
So yeah.
Together almost 8.
Mm-hmm.
3 different states.
3 different states. Jesus.
Yeah. Was it Alabama?
Georgia.
Texas. And Texas, yeah. Because I was in Valdosta. We were passing it going to Savannah.
All red states.
Cool.
Yes, God be with y'all. With us both here in Georgia. So I definitely know how that feels. And so that kind of goes into what the conversation is tonight, is being a gay dad. And kind of just being a gay dad, kind of somewhat in the South, but that ain't the thing, but we are all kind of somewhere in the South. We're in Georgia, you guys are in Texas. And so I want to know, I'm gonna start with the first question. How was your journey to becoming like gay dads? Like, were y'all married, then you had a baby and 3 children already, or was it like adoption? So I just want to know. So Will and Ladarius, what was your journey in becoming a gay dad?
This one here. So on the very first date, he wanted to have 13 kids.
He's always.
Yes. But now he has 2, and he's decided that may be one too many.
Done.
But as far as our journey, though, it really did kind of start from the very first meeting. And we actually started in Birmingham. We started going to some foster care classes even before we were married and just barely engaged, truthfully. And then the move to Georgia happened. So we kind of got settled in good old South Georgia, and got in the process again with the state and going through the foster care system. We got completely certified got the home certified, got everything completely done, got our certificate. And then the very next month, they transferred us to Houston, Texas. So we had to kind of restart the process yet again. At that point, we were married, of course. And so after settling in Houston for a couple months, we connected with a great agency here, the Monarch Agency Group, which certainly specializes for LGBTQ families and those type of placements. So once we did that, got everything certified, and then we actually, within 6 months, got our first match. So we were actually matched with 3 siblings, and that fell through.
I know. I remember that. I think I was up there when
Yes.
it fell through, and y'all had gotten ready to have the siblings, and it didn't go at the last minute. It fell through at the last minute or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That was pretty rough, simply because that was our first true match. So we were overly excited. I mean, Jonathan, you came to our home. You know, we had the bedrooms ready. We were prepared for these 3 siblings to walk in at any moment, and that was hurtful. That was painful, because, you know, we don't birth kids. We don't go through the 9-month process. But for us, we had gone through a process, and I mean, I felt like I had a miscarriage.
That's what it, but it felt, yeah. I feel
It was certainly a mourning period. And so we honestly, at that point, we kind of pumped the brakes. We're like, okay, look, this has been like a 3-year process from the 3 different states. And it's draining, it's exhausting. So we took a little bit of a break. And then,
how long did you guys break? Was it like a year, or was it just, did you count, or was it just,
about a year, I'd say.
yeah, it was a little over a year,
A
honestly.
little over a year, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we just kind of pumped the brakes. We were still with the agency. Everything was still kind of finalized, but we just had to re-update a few things. So we decided to re-engage in the process, that we were at a place again. And once we did that, then very quickly, like within a matter of weeks, we were matched again with these 2 amazing boys. And it just went super fast.
I guess in that because it did, because I was just like, you got children, what, girl? Hello. And then, but also, like, what gave you the courage to do it again? Like, really, what made you be like, okay, let's do it again? The first one didn't fall through. What made you do it again?
I would say I've always wanted to be a dad. Like, when I was born, like, I felt like that was in my calling to father kids. And I didn't know what that meant for me. I didn't know whether, I mean, of course, growing up, I figured, oh, I'll get married, have kids, and I'll live that normal life. But then when I realized and accepted myself for who I was, I realized I won't live, and I can't do that. Like, so now I have to figure something else out. Fortunately for me, like, my mom was a foster mom part of my life. So I knew at that point, once she did that, I was like, you know what? That's what I need to do. That's how I can father. Those are the kids I want in my life. So, I mean, it's one of those things, like, we got to do this. Like, I want this.
Yeah.
It's always a yearning that you have. And so, I mean, until you go fulfill that, it's like that hole is still there.
Yeah.
So you decide to suck it up and, you know, put your big girl panties on and go do it again.
Do it. I always say, put the big girl panties on. I have to do it.
These are big boy panties.
Yeah. I want to get into that one a little bit later, but I want, babe, how you became a gay daddy?
Oh, tell us. You
became a gay daddy. Tell the people.
Okay, so of course, well, you don't know. I'm a Grady baby. I've always been born and raised here in Georgia. Lived my life. A lot of my family are here. My path was a little bit different, where I did not accept my feelings or my desires for men at a younger age. And so that kind of put me on a path to where I discovered a friend, discovered a love, discovered, you know, my wife or ex-wife or whatnot. And so for that, it was one of those things where I kind of like seek God for it, and I'm like, hey, if this is for me, then, you know, it'll be for me, or whatever the case may be, if I should go forward with this. Knowing that I did have these desires. And so I basically made a choice to say that I will move forward with it, because I was not in a place of courage of just trying to acknowledge my feelings or acknowledge, you know, my thoughts about being in same-sex relationships, whatever. So I really dove in deep into just being the best man that I could be, being the best father I could be. And that was kind of difficult, sometimes with stories or with, I guess, our backgrounds or whatever. You don't always have your fathers in your life. You don't have that role model in place or whatever. So I did what I could. I did what I thought was right in order to kind of like keep myself grounded, keep myself focused on my family or whatever. And it was a time where you would always kind of like say, okay, hey, you got these feelings and stuff, but then you say, okay, I'm married, I got kids, I got the white picket fence and dogs, like true story. I got like all this stuff going on. And then you're convicted even more. So you're convicted from like your family before, and now you're convicted by the commitment that you made or whatever, and you want to hold fast to your commitment. So, of course, well, not of course, but I had a few slip ups in my journey or whatever. But that didn't default me from trying to be the best father that I could be, or committing myself to my family, or committing myself to the promise that I made and the seeds that I brought into this world. So
3 amazing girls.
yes, Michelle, Megan, and Morgan. But for them, my commitment was that I would be, whatever happens, I'll be the best father that I could possibly be. Try to understand and better myself in that process. So I was married for about 13 years. We were together for 15 years. So that's a whole lifetime. And as y'all know, being together for 8 years, you're like, okay, if that was not to happen, what would you do, right? How would your life look and everything? So that was really a scary place to be in. And I really, I thank God for the journey. I thank God for I don't say that I have regrets. I could have chose differently or whatever, but that would not have me where I am right now. So I'm just grateful in that space. But the journey after the marriage with the kids, I guess, it's kind of tricky or whatever. We can talk about that later and stuff. But yeah, so, I white picket fence. We had 2 dogs. I didn't have any boys. So, we had all girls.
And he had
would you like 2 boys?
An old-fashioned way.
Yes, the old-fashioned way.
But would you like 2 boys? We got 2. I got 2 in the room right now.
Jonathan want to adopt his own, so
I do. Because I want boys. I mean, I've always wanted, kids. So, I love kids. You talk about kids all the time.
Right.
We was talking about being parents always, I think gay was a byproduct, but we was just like, we want children. And so me wanting kids was always a dream. So when he had kids, I was like, oh, that's cool. That's great. And then being in this dynamic and being, in a relationship has been like, I'm a ready-made father. Like,
right.
I'm a daddy. I'm all in, where you just got to go through the process. It was just like, hey, we dad, and the girls are,
look what I can do.
They're like, hey, and they're amazing. So you love them. You automatically fall in love with them. It hasn't been like like, oh, I don't know if the kids gonna like me. It was just like, oh, y'all love me. I love y'all too, So that has been like it would be a blended family.
Yeah.
Kind of like a blended family. So I know you guys have 2 boys. How was the adoption process once it finally got finalized? How was it? Like, I know you said it came quick, and then I came on I was on the video, and then he was like, you got children. But how was that year? Was it a year until you guys were able to officially adopt?
Not quite. So they were placed the end of June last year. So in Texas, they have to be in your home at least 6 months before they can schedule the hearing to finalize the adoption. So we were kind of on track just between the placement and the paperwork and all of that type of thing for around February. And then it was heading into March, and then Miss Rona came.
Yes.
And kind of changed the course of things. So that delayed the process a little bit to give, just the courts and the system and everybody time to go virtual like we are tonight. And so the adoption was actually in April. So just a few months shy of a year. So about 9 months, 9-10 months all in. And it was done virtually on Zoom with the judge and the attorneys and everybody. So we were actually in our home when we did the actual hearing itself. So the process leading up to that It's for me, it's just the hardest. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do,
Ever.
but also the most rewarding.
What would you say is one of the hardest things? What makes it the hardest thing?
For me, it was, because, okay, so we went through the foster care system.
Mm-hmm.
So these are kids who have been neglected or whatever the case may be, but they're in the system. To get them out of the system, the paperwork, for me, it was
Everybody up in your business.
everybody in your business. Like visits on visits on visits on visits. So from June when they were placed till April, we had visits. I felt like daily.
All the time.
I feel like somebody was coming in my home every single day, judging me on how I live and how I parent. When I say live, I don't mean like, is the house okay, like to live in? I mean like going room to room. Oh, do you have coverings on your sockets? Do you have locks on your cabinets? Is the liquor put up high? Are the knives locked away? No one
Coming
lives
in
like
looking
that.
at homework, coming in and looking at the kids' homework, and
child.
quizzing the kids as if it was a lot. It was very invasive. It was a very invasive process from the financials to all of it, which is needed. I get it, right? I mean, I totally understand the process and the reason behind it. That does not negate that it's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
And just getting through that entire process. And then when you have these kids coming into your home that have been in the system for a couple of years already, and, when the boys came to us, they were 4 and 8, and we were the 12th home that they had lived in their lives.
Don't cry. He's so emotional, yeah.
But that's a lot. Like these babies have been in 12 homes, and I can only imagine their trust level for you coming into a home.
All they knew were visits.
Yeah.
We're just now a year into it, getting to the point that they're not asking is who's coming to visit today.
Yeah.
Like they just knew visits. They didn't know who it was. They didn't care who it was. Oh, yay, there's somebody new coming in to visit. That's just all they knew, was moving from place to place. And we saw that like 3 months in with their behavior changing, because their internal body was telling them, okay, we've been here long enough. It's time to go somewhere else. And they started acting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Kicked out of daycare twice. Yeah, it's exhausting.
Daycare. We haven't even made it to school. This is daycare. This is a 4-year-old daycare. So that was hard. That was a lot. When you think about parenthood, or at least when I thought about parenthood, that's not what I envisioned.
Yeah.
I thought these great little boys going to come in, life is going to be perfect. We're going to bake cakes and run and laugh. And when the 4-year-old's cursing at you, you're like,
excuse me.
Like, ooh, oh no, we go to church on Sunday. We can't do this.
Yeah.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
But one thing too, within the foster care system, a lot of people, there are different routes, right? But within the foster care system, you're not allowed to discipline your kids.
No, you can discipline.
You can't whoop them. You can't whoop your children.
A thing. You can
be physical.
You can't beat their butt.
And so that's that's hard when you're raised to a point where if you do something wrong. I'm not saying beat them, but
yeah.
Pop them.
Stop. Oh no, because they're quick, because they know the system, and they're quick to say, oh, I'll tell so and so. I'll call on you.
Wow.
What?
Child, I handed him the phone. Now here calls the back.
He did. No,
I'll dial the number. Come on.
He really handed him the phone.
No, you say call him.
He said, here's the phone. You want me to dial the number for you? Call them.
Right. And don't misunderstand. We weren't beating them.
No.
I definitely understand.
But in the system, especially for the 8-year-old, right? So again, we were the 12th home between the different family members, and then the different foster placements, and then finally the adoptive placement. But when the state brings them in and they're going over these different documents and all this stuff, if they're of age enough, like at 8 years old, there's literally, they literally go over with the child and make sure that they understand you're to be safe, you're to have all these things, which is great. But also as an 8-year-old who can't fully process and understand what all that really means, and they're told this several times over the course of a year, they kind of misunderstand where the lines of authority lie.
Yeah.
So it was a process to kind of get through that, and and it's easy for us to be like, well, what the heck's wrong with you? Like, this is easy. Like, we've covered this. But again, 12 homes.
Yeah.
12 roofs that they were under.
Right.
And every time they had to adjust to someone else's rules and policies.
Right. Yeah.
And not everybody probably was as nice as you.
No.
And they would tell you too.
No.
Not Miss So-and-so. She'd whoop you. Well, keep going. See what happens over here.
But okay, well, I guess that goes into the next, section I had a question for, and I guess this can go to you too, babe. How was it for your kids to say, "Oh, I got a gay daddy"? Like you was a gay daddy, like you daddy, and then you daddy too. So how was it like for your kids to be like, you a gay daddy? How was that for you?
Me in my position, I guess that was difficult because one, we had to get a divorce, right? We didn't have to, but we did. So
yeah, because let me be clear,
that works better.
if he was married, we would not be together.
Hey.
That would not be the other woman. No.
Change my
One and only.
Right, but so that part it was a lot because I have to take ownership of my place that I had in it, my decisions that I made or whatever, my hurt and the trust that I took away from their mom, and so there was a lot of development, a lot of building that I had to do on myself before I can even go to a point of then addressing the girls. And so like they have programs or I guess like groups, this group I do, Gamma, is for gay and bisexual dads that are married or weren't married or whatever case may be, and they're just everywhere. And I did things like I would read books like by T.D. Jakes, and I was in a group with a group as far as like helping men, I guess, to kind of like take ownership and just understand your place in the community, understand your place in your family's role or whatever. So in those things, I had to first work on myself so that I could be a good base for my girls as well. But just telling them, I was oftentimes threatened by their mom that, hey, I'm gonna tell them what's going on. I'm gonna show them pictures. I'm gonna show them, just everything, just a whole gambit of whatever. There's a whole bunch of emotions going on there. Finances is just not a good sight. But in that, I had to make sure that whatever happened, whatever outbursts happened, like I'm sure y'all have outbursts and everything with your sons, that I operate in love, that I operate in patience, and that I operate, like you said earlier, you're in a 8-year-old body mindset trying to make an adult or decision or rationalize things or whatever. So for me, the hardest thing was just telling my girls that, hey, I am homosexual. I'm gay. Yes, I was with your mom. I love your mom. I wish her the best or whatever. But I wasn't honest with myself. And so because I wasn't honest with myself, that's kind of put us in the spot that we're in. And it's not that you're a mistake. It's not that, you're not wanted or desired or whatever the case may be. But for whatever crazy reason, this is just God's plan and this just, how it happened or whatever. But I think for me, that was I've had a couple of anxiety moments to where it's just like, what or how do I tell them? And the crazy thing was though, when I told them though, we just had that, conversation. It wasn't real deep. We was actually going somewhere and over my brother's friend's house or whatever. And I just, before we went in the house, I was like, hey, I just want to talk to y'all. I want to let you know, say, hey, I made some not bad decisions, but I made some decisions. And, I'm trying to be more honest with myself so I can be honest with other people. And I told him, I said, I'm gay. I like men. That's the way it's going to be. I love y'all, and I'm going to do my best to be there for you. And so their response was, at the time, it's like, oh, Daddy, you like, what, you kiss guys or something? It's like, that's weird or whatever. And I was like, yeah, That, yeah, among other things, but but
Just say it, Churchill.
no, I didn't say that. But I was just like, you know, this is a reality. And what I found was the anxiety of just coming up to the point of telling them was, I guess, over exaggerated on my part, because the only thing that they wanted to know was that somebody loved them. You know, their dad loved them. Their dad was going to be there for them and stuff. Their dad was going to be committed to trying to make sure that they take care of them and stuff. And it's a whole bunch of, you know, in betweens and of that or whatever. And just, you know, maybe outbursts. We did like therapy and counseling for them or whatever. I got counseling as well for myself, which I think is important in everybody's life. You know, if you go do a physical, you need to go at least get a counseling session, at least, you know, twice a year or whatever.
Yes.
But but in that space, they've been very accepting. They've been accepting of Jonathan. They've been accepting of just, you know, my desires to move forward in life. I think like I said, as far as being a base, I try to show them that by my life actions or by my choices that I made, and holding on and being accountable for those choices, that they can learn from, not to say my mistakes, but my choices or the lack thereof. So yeah, that's what my girls. They're good. We just celebrated my Morgan's 9th birthday is today. And I have 2 teenagers. I have one to be 16, one to be 14. So they are going on 26 and 27, of course.
When they tell us what they need to do and what we need to do.
And then I have that finger moment. I was like, what?
Like, let them talk, express themselves.
Because I'm not about expressing all the time. Like, I want to hear, but you know, it's just the time and place. And so we've had to grow, especially with the 2 different households or whatever, and try to blend that.
Yeah. What about y'all? The boys coming in, they've been in, you said 12 homes. Were you guys their first gay dad home? Or
Yes. I mean, luckily, because they were in different homes and they had some other, you know, foster siblings that were adopted by same-sex parents, they had some minimal exposure to it. And the, you know, the caseworker kind of talked to them about it and what it would kind of be. We did a FaceTime video with them the first time before we went and met them in person. And then like the very first weekend, it was perfectly fine. You know, I think what we've really realized is, as adults, we're the ones that overanalyze and overthink everything.
Yeah, we do.
We went to...
Kids ain't thinking like that sometimes.
Right.
We overthinking too much.
Yes. We went and met them in their hometown and spent the weekend there with them, even to the point of, it was probably half a day into the first day before they realized I was white. Like, it just all of a sudden they're like,
it hit them.
He looks different. Like, it just like clicked with one of them, and they're like, oh, okay, and they just went on. And then when the very next weekend they came, that's actually the weekend they stayed. Maybe half a day into it again, and you know, they saw some wedding pictures and different things. And Jeremiah, the oldest, he's like, so why'd y'all get married?
That was the question.
He said, what?
Like, yeah, he was like, I mean, why y'all get married?
Right. And we just said, well, we loved each other. He said, okay. He's like, so like, y'all are married and then we'll be like your kids? We're like, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the conversation.
Right.
It's
They
so
were fine.
okay.
Well, I will bring this up. So that was Jeremiah's, you know, his awakening of what was happening. So Jaden at the time was 4, and then he turned 5 in September. So he's out the first daycare, right? So now he's in a new daycare. And so the new teacher, she's like,
She don't play.
She don't play. She don't play with me, him, and the kids.
She's that old auntie that you don't cross, you don't play with. She's gonna say it once, and if you don't listen,
you're gonna know. So I go pick him up one day, and she's like, "Dad, I need to talk to you." And I'm like, "Oh, what he's done today? Like, what's today's situation?" And she's like, "You know, I don't have a problem. You know," she said, "I know they don't say the words.
Yeah, we know. Yeah,
I know.
What you
And
know?
I'm like, you know what, child?
yeah. I'm like, girl,
What happened? And
you got corona? What's wrong?
right. And she says, so yeah, it was like November, December. And she says, I don't know how the other parents are when it comes to, and then she's like, gay people. And I'm like, where's this coming from? Like, I'm just coming to pick the child up. Like, what's going on? And so then she goes on and says, so our little one's Jaden, he got into an argument with the kid about the kid's parents and him having two dads. So the kid is like, I have a mom and dad. And Jaden's like, no, I have two dads. And they're like, no, you don't. He's like, yes, I do. And I love them. You don't know, I have two dads. And she was like, no. She said the argument he was so real and like ready to fight because he knew he had two dads.
No.
And he meant it from the bottom of his heart.
Right.
And I will tell you guys this, that little kid embraces having two dads. Like I've never, and I mean, he's 5. He really doesn't probably grasp it all the way, but he is so happy. Like, it's like if you say, do you have two dads? Yes, like I got a daddy and a papa. Like he's super duper excited about it.
And it helps that we're in a city like Houston, right? I mean, where there's nearly 5 million people. It's the most diverse city in the United States. And yes, so one of the things that really, really has helped us the most we have different books about Daddy, Papa, and me, and we have, just to show them that it's okay, it can be normal. But the biggest thing was our church.
Oh.
Did y'all go to a gay affirming church?
It is an affirming church. It's technically United Methodist. It's St. John's downtown in Houston, Texas. Beyonce's home church, where she grew up.
I do know.
Yes.
She goes there.
Dr. Rudy Rasmus and Juanita Rasmus, the most amazing pastors ever. Yeah. It's in the heart of downtown, and it's the love church. And it's such a diverse congregation, such a diverse community. So there's all kinds of examples of what different families can look like. And that has helped them a lot too.
Yeah.
To see that, okay, I'm not the only one. I can just be me.
Exactly.
Oh, and I think that's something that's kind of interesting, because I think what makes my process easier is that Mom is also in a same-sex relationship.
Wow.
So,
come on. That's a plot twist.
Y'all just wanted some kids.
Just a little more now.
That a little more tea right there. That was a little more tea.
Let me get another sip.
Yeah.
But so it just, again, God just has a funny way, of doing things, and you have no plans or whatever. And so never would have fathomed, I guess this being our outcome or this being our place. But everything really happens for a reason. And it makes it to a point to where, okay, hey, I'm not going to challenge the fact that you're gay, because my mom's gay too. So like, I'm not going to say nothing bad about my mom, because I know not to do that.
Right.
But I think it's the process, because I think that for them, like he was talking about their journey, I think even in the process of they've known that they're one way though. They've known you one way. Yeah. And I think that it was for them, because for me, when they met me, they was like, oh, you gay.
Right.
You're gay, right? And I was like, yeah. So I think it was fun. They wanted me to do my nails. They wanted me to, dance. And, and I showed them some of my dance.
Ooh.
I know.
Thank you.
Ooh.
And so it was easy. But I think for their dad, because, Chris is very, like I always tell him, he's hetero presenting. Like he's very much he's butch, right? And you'd be like, and so, they know he's butch. Trey, listen. And I think for them, they know him that way.
Yeah.
And I think when they see me, they see the gay guy that they, probably think, they know. And for their dad, I think it may have been hard for them to kind of marry to, but it has been a process, I would say.
Yeah.
For Morgan, the youngest, she,
so like,
it's fairy tale.
I don't care.
I love y'all, but I think the oldest, I think, is in the process. Understand?
Yeah, I definitely believe that a lot of times, because, we were married, I was there when they were born all the way up, till 3 years ago or whatever. kids always look for senses of normalcy or what things
Mhm.
used to be or whatever, how things, used to go or whatever. And so that's really one of my things is that we're just trying to figure out our new normal. So for us,
Yeah.
it's like figuring out what that looks like. And so it's been some trial and errors, of course. But it was kind of interesting about a week or so. We have like 2 weeks or 4 weeks out of the summer. And so one of the things I like to do is I like to play Xbox. I like to be outside cutting grass. I ride my bike now and stuff. I'm, trying to be more physically active or whatever. So one of the things I do is play Xbox. And so my daughter, she came in the room and she was like, wow, it's, like good to see you back doing what you normally do, or see, just relaxing and, being comfortable or whatever case may be. Like, this is what I remember and everything. So that was a real big moment for me. And I think for Jonathan as well, because you're trying to create a home that fosters, an environment where you feel comfortable at.
And that was big for me because I knew that we were blending.
Yeah,
I wanted the girls to be able to come into our space and be like, this is home. Like, so this is our home. They have an amazing home with their mom and with her partner. And I wanted to be like, oh, Dad, when we come home, it's home too. Like, this is home. So that was big for me. And to be able to see them and share time in our home with their, and then you have that. So,
just a little more, just a little more, just a little more, just